And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today.
My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
Not my skill set, nor do I want to learn it.
Sometimes, because I put up stuff which I kind of test
in the wilderness. I don't know if I was the best one to teach them that. However, and although it was a really
that when you said, I was like, oh,
the baby out with the bathwater.
I do know where that.
So for me, rather than doing something half-heartedly or like just half.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Time to Shine Happiness Show with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley and Barbara Ellison. How you doing, lady?
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm always excited on Wednesdays. I get to be on the Time to Shine show and then with my wonderful queen next to me. And exactly. Today is, I like today because, and we said we want to start doing this more and more, at least one show out the month, just you and I, and just, expressing topics or things that we do in our own little world and really just sharing it with the audience.
Yeah. Right. And, and for me, just some of the things that we go through, that people think, oh, well, I truly believe that we look at sometimes people who are more in the spotlight and not necessarily that, well, I mean, we're not famous by any means, but we're, we are do put ourselves out there a little bit more spotlight.
Yeah.
But people think that people that do that don't have problems or don't have issues or don't have, that their life is perfect. I mean, because, and one of the things that I always share with people is that, don't go by Facebook. I mean, Facebook is like you're seeing people's highlight reels. You're not seeing their real life.
I know the vulnerability needs to
that
be a little bit
we
better than what it is.
need to get those little vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share a quick little story that kind of goes along with
what we're
our
talking about
topic for today, because we are, one of the things, and this is a statistic, that the average person has approximately 60,000 thoughts in a day. Okay.
A lot.
The only problem with it is that 75% of those thoughts are negative and 90% of them are repetitive.
Oh, wow. Repetitive thoughts of the negative?
Of negative thoughts. And we just think that that's the way we are. Well, like I'm a positive intelligence coach. And so I have, for the last couple of years, I've been really working on those internal voices in my head. So a couple of weeks ago, during that 3 o'clock in the morning, that just you're wide awake, 3 o'clock in the morning. The funny part was the very first conscious thought I had was about something that I did 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
30, 40 years ago. And the audible voice in my head said, "That was pretty stupid, Barbara." Well, I've been a positive intelligence coach. So one of the tools that I have learned, that when you get that negative, it was an audible voice in my head saying, "Well, that was pretty stupid, Barbara," from 40 years ago. And I started to laugh, because that's one of the tools that you can do when you have those negative thoughts. Just laugh at it and say, yeah, I know. Yeah, that was 40 years ago. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that from 40 years ago. But yeah, so I started to laugh. Well, there was me starting to laugh. Well, of course, my cat thought that I was awake and that it was time for her to have some attention.
Oh.
So I was laughing. She was sitting on me, purring. Okay, which made me laugh even more, because by this time it was like, all right, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, Barbara. You're thinking a negative thought about something that happened 40 years ago. Your cat is now lying on your chest, purring at you. And I live like maybe not even a street, a little bit over a street away from the railroad track.
Oh, okay. Close.
So, and I love where I live, and I don't even notice the trains most of the time. Well, one of those express middle of the night trains was going by. Well, when those really fast trains go by, my house vibrates. So there's me, negative thought. I'm laughing at my thought. My cat's on my chest purring. My bed is vibrating because a train is going by, which made me laugh even more. I went, Barbara, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was laughing so hard because of just all of these things. And I said, well, guess what? I'm going to talk about that. And of course, then my next thought was, well, I guess I'm going to have to share that on the Time to Shine Happiness show.
One thing I love about you, a lot of things I love about you, Barbara, is you always have the good stories with the point of what we always talk about. You always do that. That's good. Well, you know what? I was just thinking when you were talking about that, your story, that goes into what we're going to be talking about, mindset and persistency. And the first thing is you kind of illustrated becoming aware of your thoughts. Becoming, your thoughts and saying, putting a label on it in a sense, saying, okay, is this positive, negative, or neutral?
Right.
And where is it coming from? All the 40 years. I mean, how many times when you said that, I said, how many times have I had a thought come up and it's been like a long time ago? And then I'm thinking to myself, why is this popping up now? And, like you said, where is this coming from?
Where did it come from? Yeah. The thing is, though, I could without having that tool of laughing at it, that could play on your mind and say, oh yeah, it really was stupid.
Yeah. You could have went a down road.
You start going in the spiral down. And that's exactly what happens to people. Like sometimes, like one of the things, so many of us, we have stood at the edge of making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get paralyzed by those voices, those whispers in your head that are doubt.
Yeah.
And one of the descriptions that I just absolutely loved was that our minds, and this was a description of what our mind is like. Our mind it's actually like a bustling city of thought. The byways, the highways, the turns, we're just a big jumble of thoughts. The thing is, though, some of them guide us. Absolutely. Some of them are good to question us. Gee, is this really the path that you want to be on?
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's all those other ones that are 75% negative. Yeah. So in those bustling cities of thought are mostly 75% of them are doubts, negatives, guilt, shame, all of those things. And those voices, if you can tap into the 25% that are positive, great. Those can be your greatest ally. But what's happening to most people is they are tapping into the 75% that are the negatives.
Yes.
And that is the most cunning adversary to keep you stuck in where you are or where you think you are.
Yeah.
Big description there.
Yes. Now I have talking about the negative thought, because like you said, that's like the majority of in our mind, and we got to battle that all the time. So I pulled up a challenge negative self-talk.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah, I said my wonderful queen thought about this topic today, and I said I need to be ready. So I do have I want to walk through that.
Yep. Because and right at this moment, I think it is so relevant. So many people are caught in this spiral going down.
Yeah.
All the negative things you're hearing in the world, or the suicide rate, all of the people that are just falling down the cracks.
Yes. And like you said, Barbara, that's why I'm glad you brought this topic up, because it is so important right now. And it's just sad to see. I always see it all the time. And even in myself, I gotta, to do, like you said, work it out for me.
I'm working out for myself. 3:00 in the morning.
3. So, okay. So real quickly, and I want to go through this, and I want to give, because you're always going to give your wonderful wisdom. So I want to walk through it, and I want your wisdom to come out, because it always does. So this challenge negative self-talk I found. So just let everybody know, this is not Barbara made this up. This is Barbara researched. So I don't want people to think that this is like mine. So they said, if you notice when critical inner voice emerges, ask yourself 3 questions.
Okay.
It says, first, is this thought based on facts or emotions?
True.
So that's the first question it said. And then it said, second, would I say this to a friend?
Oh, yeah, true.
That was like, oh, okay. And then third question, what's a more balanced, supportive, or alternate? So what would be a balance or something supporting or alternate than what you're thinking? And it said, replace the negative self-talk with encouraging affirmations.
Exactly.
So so that's now that's like what they give us a tool, like a little challenge. So, this is where the wisdom of Barbara Ellison comes in at.
Right. And the thing is, so often those things are absolutely essential to get us started. The only problem with it, not a problem. A little bit of a challenge is lots of times people think that it's out here that they're going to find the answer. Oh, well, if so-and-so was different. Oh, if I had a different job. Oh, if I was older, if I was thinner, if I was more athletic, if I was more active, if I was less active, if I was less busy. They're looking out here in the externals rather than in here. Our intuition. We have a guidance intuition within us. And for me, it's my Holy Spirit. However, and because I'm a woman of faith, however, it could be, you can call it whatever you want to. It's your intuition, it's your inner business examiner, your inner business expert, whatever that inner thing is of you. That's where, but we have to sit down and just breathe into it and let it, and then wait. And I call it my stop, wait, and then listen. You got to stop first. And that's what happens to so many people. They let that monkey brain keep going.
Yeah. And sometimes they don't have a chance to, like you said at the beginning, Barbara, to stop. Because sometimes, we're going, like you said, we're going all day and we wake up, boom, 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 the whole day, right? And then while these thoughts are coming, I'm just thinking about that, like you said, with the street, with the whole, all that going on. When do you get a chance to really just, like you said, stop? And then like this challenge said, the first question, is this thought based on facts or emotions? Are you able to walk through these questions? That's my question.
Exactly. You got to stop. You have to stop first. And that's what I think so often people, they're trying to answer the questions. Well, but it's still in their monkey brain. How can you answer that question if you're still in your monkey brain?
If you're still,
so that's why with what I teach my clients is my stop, wait for the answer, wait for them to wait for that calmness, and wait for that there can possibly be an answer. And then listen to what your inner voice is telling you. That inner, and it's just, we call it a still small voice, but it's just that inner knowing that either something has to change, or I could do this. And all of a sudden, a new idea just absolutely springs into your head. And then of course you say, I wonder where that came from. Well, guess what? It came from that inner knowing.
Yeah.
And all we have to do is listen to it. And so often it's like, okay, but Barb, how do I do that? Okay, well, let's just do it right now.
Walk through it.
Walk through it. Put your feet on, let's just do it. Put your feet on the floor. Put your hands just in your lap and just kind of roll your shoulders back. And now let's just take a breath. Go and breathe in for a count of 3 or 5. And then out. While you're breathing in, thinking, I'm calm. Like with me, I recite the 23rd Psalm. Lead me beside still waters. And when I breathe out, restore my soul. And do that 3 times. Ooh. Even though I'm talking through it, I can feel my body just starting to relax a little bit. Yeah. And now once you sit and let that peace, that inner quiet, but it doesn't happen in the first second. That's why you have to stop. That's the stop. But then you have to wait. Wait for that calmness to get in you. Like you call it your Osha, the Osha, or like the Namaste, that.
Well, Barbara, this feels good. I said, whew, yeah, this feels really good.
Exactly. And We have to start with that. And so often I find that the gurus, that they're teaching you tools.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the basic tools that I teach is you have to stop first.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people don't know how to stop the monkey brain. Because it's like, oh, well, but I've always been this way. Well, yeah, because you've always been that way. But you don't have to, because you have always been that way right now does not mean that you are going to continue to be that way.
Yeah.
We can teach you tools. And that's where this stop, wait, and then listen is a tool that you can use to stop that monkey brain. And now, I mean, and you will get to the point, and sometimes you're like, okay, you will, when you're first starting, it'll be like, your monkey brain is still going to be telling you, oh, this is stupid, this is ridiculous, I can't do it. I mean, people are just going to think I'm weird if I tell them that I'm talking to myself, and I'm just talking to myself, and it's not something that's going to help me. And does that sound familiar?
So even you trying to do the tool, you're talking negative.
I'm trying to do the tool. Because that's your monkey brain. It doesn't want to give you up. It wants to cling to you.
I love that part. That's good. It doesn't want to give you up. It's like, no, you're not going to think. You're not going to go there.
Because it's in that monkey brain that it keeps us small.
Yeah,
and it keeps us from the growth. It keeps us from the growth.
Yes,
that we are all just so excited for, we should be anyways, excited for the growth, because I don't want to be like this anymore. And that could be your next thought. Okay, something has to change. So what am I going to do? We have to stop. But then now I can do it in the middle of the night. It was 30 seconds. Oh, brother, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen to that. That's my monkey brain trying to make me crazy. I'm not going to listen. I'm going to laugh at it.
Yeah.
But that's I've been doing it for years.
Yes. It takes, like you said, Barbara, I'm glad you mentioned it takes that practice. It's not going to just happen at that one time, because you're basically telling your brain to think and switch a different way. And you just said at the beginning that most of our thoughts are 75 or 90, whatever.
75% negative, and 95% of them are repetitive.
Of that. So do you think that all of a sudden, in one day or whatever, you're going to just change? No, you have to continuously work on that.
Right. And one of the examples that I use is I like watching golf. And Tiger Woods, the first time he picked up a golf club, was he a world champion after one lesson? No. He picked up his first golf club when he was like 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he practiced every day.
Yeah.
Or somebody like Michael Jordan. Jordan, he says, one time I was listening to a thing that he had done, and he has shot like 1,000 baskets a day for years.
Wow. See, that's what is, you gotta,
our brain is no different. It is not going to learn a new routine in one time. It's a daily practice. And sometimes for me, it's a practice for every minute.
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. Not just daily, because 1 minute, Barbara, you could be like, yay, and then like 2 minutes or even a minute pass, something pops in, like you said, in your brain, and you're like, okay, now where does this come from? Oh no, now I feel like that. And then you go through that, like you said. Then you got to go back to what you're talking about with the tool.
Right.
And I'm glad that you mentioned about laughing, because that does help a lot. I've been doing that a lot. I don't feel like people be looking at me like I'm crazy, but it does help.
And I have gotten to the point now where if somebody thinks I'm crazy, that's fine. That's their issue.
Like, because I gotta control. I gotta take control of this any means necessary. Like I tell people,
whatever works for you. And then so what happens to lots of times to people is that some people can just push through a challenge and they can do it through sheer grit. But that can only last so long.
Yeah, yeah.
Other people, of course, get stuck at the first hurdle. and then starts the pity party and the woe is me and oh, this is too hard. And that all comes back to our monkey brain.
We do this. And people be like, what you doing, Barbara? I said, that's beating yourself up. That's what that is.
Exactly. We beat ourselves up for all the things that we're not, rather than celebrating the things that we are.
And then, I like, because I know sometimes, I do certain things too when you explain it, but I like to show that because it gives you that picture in your mind to say, why would I do this?
Yeah.
Why would I do? I mean, think about it. I'm sitting here, and this is all day most of the time. Sometime when I'm beating myself up. So when you visually see that, sometimes you got to ask yourself, "Dad, I am doing something crazy just like that. It's just inside of me, in my brain, and how I'm working this out." So why would you do that? So that's where you got to tell yourself, "Okay," and then take the steps that you said. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So while we're talking about this, everybody, we got to give some love to our sponsor. I can't believe we're already halfway.
I know.
Me and Bar, we just do this well. We do this well. So we're gonna get to our sponsor, and then we're gonna come right back and talk more about, give you some more tips, and really talk about that inner voice, because, like Barbara said, it could really, So we'll be right back. Wow, I just noticed, give some love to Mary Ellen, because she's awesome. And I just noticed I played her video, and it's kind of what we're kind of talking about, because she's always, that her whole thing is about positive affirmations and all that stuff, and really working what we're talking about. And I was like, wow, that came right on time. Didn't even notice that. But yes, Ms. Barbara. So real quickly, I just want to do a quick overview if you're just chiming in, because some people might just be chiming into the Time to Shine show today with myself and the other queen, Barbara Ellison. We're talking about mindset and persistence, really those thoughts, those things that be, creeping in our head most of the time. And we have to, like Barbara said, not just daily, but every minute, we have to redo those tools to help us get out of that and get to a positive mode, so we can move forward in what we need to do in our everyday life. That's what I'm thinking too. Because sometimes, like Barbara said, we can get in that down spiral and sit there for a while. And then think about it, when you're sitting there for a while, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, an hour, 2 days, 2 weeks. I'm just throwing it out there because I've been there in all those times. The time goes. And now what? You can't get time back. You can't get time. So, and then I kind of mentioned, well, like I said, it wasn't mine. I'm not going to give my credit, but it was a challenge. It was a challenge, negative self-talk. And it gave 3 questions just to think about. Is your thoughts based on facts or emotions? When your inner voice is talking to you, would you say it to a friend? So if I'm saying myself, I'm saying, oh, Barbara, you're so ugly. Would I tell that to a friend? Think about it. And then what's a more balanced, supportive alternative than thinking about how ugly I am? Just use an example again. So you got to replace your negative talk. This is what the challenge says. You got to replace it with encouraging affirmations. I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm knowledgeable, I'm creative. Right now, at the beginning, I'm just going to say this, Barbara, then I'm going to give it to you. sometimes with the affirmations, and like you said, we're going to be really real here. Sometimes I don't believe what I'm saying. Sometimes at the beginning,
exactly.
I'm beautiful. I'm creative. I'm knowledgeable. In the back of my mind, see the negative talk already. I'm really not all that, but somebody told me to say it.
Exactly. And you don't believe it.
And you don't believe it. And I always tell people that's where Barbara came in at. And I love what she said too about you have to continue this. Just like we were talking about the celebrities that, the sports, Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods, and the list goes on of how they over and over and over and over and over again till it's in your, it's like it goes out of here, now it's going into here. Yeah.
It's like it's your body it becomes muscle. It's like having muscle memory. Mm-hmm. And the thing is this internal dialogue, it's normal. It's natural. The thing is, though, when those negative thoughts, and we've already talked about it, 75% of the thoughts are negative and 95% are repetitive. Mm-hmm. Well, those negative thoughts, when they take the driver's seat, mm-hmm. that's when they lead us down to inaction and self-sabotage. And when we can recognize those moments and understand that they are part of us, absolutely, because some of those voices, they'll protect, they're our guides, they're our protectors, absolutely. But they don't define our capabilities.
That's good.
Let that land there, people. That's for somebody. It does not define your capability or who you are. And so then by shifting that mindset from places of doubt,
yes,
and even just to one little small piece of possibility. Gee, is it possible that I could change how I'm thinking? Even if that little thought, is it possible that I could change that? Then we open up all the doors to new possibilities and new opportunities and new strengths and new ways of looking at things and new abundance and new joy and new happiness and new relationships and everything. But we have to start with knowing it's natural and then saying, okay, is this the way I want to be for the rest of my life? And then the thing is, Barb, I tell people, it is a choice. Yeah, but Barb, that's not going to work. Well, that's your choice to not try. And as hard as that is for me to say sometimes, it's like, well, it's your choice.
Yeah. We always, no matter what we talk about, I've noticed this, any type of topic, Barbara, it always comes back to anything we say. It's always your choice to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go there this way. I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah.
It's your choice. Yeah.
And there's really only two directions, up or down.
Yeah.
Is there a middle ground?
Is there really a middle ground? I want to ask that, Barbara, because you know how some people say, well, there's that middle ground. Do you think there's a middle ground?
You know what? I think that well, there is a middle space. However, in that middle space, there always has to be a little direction. Like I always try to be a little direction, even if it's 1 degree. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so like a cup is 100%. Mm-hmm. You can have half a cup. If you've got a half a cup plus 1 ounce, then you're closer to being full than you are to being empty. Mm-hmm. So yes, you're going to go through that middle ground because that's part of the learning curve. Mm-hmm. Where when you first start, you are totally incompetent and have no idea what you're doing. But then you start to learn some tools, which is what we're talking about today. You start to learn some of those tools, so you get a little, and you're not quite so negative, or you have a couple of times where, that was a positive thought, and it led to this, and you start going up the ladder. Mm-hmm. There are still going to be times where you are going to fall back because you don't go like this. Yeah. You go up and down, around and around. You go up and down. You go around and around. You go up and down. Back to the fact that our brain is a city of streets and highways and sharp curves and curvy curves and super highways and dead ends.
I'm glad you said this. That's good.
And sometimes there are dead ends.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Yeah.
And the thing is that if you are at a dead end, been there, done that. All right, Barbara, this didn't work. What are you going to do? You know, but that's where it comes back to take time to sit back, stop, wait. Barbara, what are you going to do? And listen, you know, ask that question, whatever, you know, like those 3 questions, Barb, are excellent that you said. You have to stop first and then ask that question. Gee, really, would I say that to a friend? No. Or yes, I would if it was positive. Okay. So then you're back to that spot where you can listen to, okay, Barbara, what are you going to do? And wait for the answer. And it might not necessarily be the full answer. It might not be that, whoa, big vision, but it might be, oh, well, I could do this. That one next step. As small as it is. Oh, I could do that. Would that work? Don't ask yourself that. Just take the step and then find out if it works. And if it did, great. If it didn't, oh, well, what's next?
What's next? Yeah.
What's next? And because that comes down to setting a goal. Like if you have a goal that, I mean, and your brain cannot go like if you're, let's give you an example. If you're making $50,000 a year, it's not realistic to set a goal that, well, by next year, I'm going to be making $1 million. Your brain is going to tell you, yeah, you're a fool. You're just, you know, but they say statistically that your brain will take to double your income. You make $50,000 a year, then next year you could probably, if you do the thing. Okay, let's go back to, let's talk about what makes your heart sing. If you are doing the thing that you are called to do, you will find the people to help you with it. You will find the joy. You will find the enrichment. You will find the abundance. You will find the money. It'll come. So if you find, if you're doing that thing that you are working towards, that, oh yeah, that's going to be so awesome, then probably you will double your income. And then the next year, double your income. Then the next year, double your income. And guess what? All of a sudden you're a millionaire. Yeah. Because what we want is to move, you know, when you're celebrating the victory, those small steps, it's those small victories that move you along the way. And then the process of doing that, it creates a positive feedback loop in our brain. Yes. So when you have that positive and then make it, so then that becomes part of, like we talked about, this is part of persistence. This is where persistence comes in. So it reinforces the behavior. Persistence becomes part of our identity. Okay, I am not going to give up. My intention is to break through, you fill in the blank. And when the thing is, though, we have to understand that persistence is within our control. It comes back to our choice.
It's a choice. That's what always.
It comes back to choice. But then it moves that mountain that's in front of you. Yes. And I mean, we've had some mountains. As a country, as a world, there have been some mountains. Personally, there's been some mountains. But instead of them being a daunting mountain, they can become a climbable hill. Okay, that's going to take time. And I'm going to have to put in maybe a little bit of blood and sweat, but maybe some tears. But I'm past the dead end.
Yeah. You move forward. Yeah.
You move forward.
Now, Barbara, it's like you're hitting everything you're hitting. I told you. Now, I'm just going to let everybody know, me and Barbara, sometimes we talk about maybe within a few days of what topic we might talk about, especially if it's both of us. But we don't draw out a whole plan. When we get here, we let our wisdom, both of us, come together. And this is how we talk. So half the stuff that Barbara says, I haven't heard. But then now I have my own thing that I was going to say, which she already set me up for. This is what this is what I call a wonderful partnership, where we're just vibing off each other and we know each other. That, to me, that is powerful. So I want to just do a side note here of when you're building relationships and you're building, when you want to basically collaborate with individuals, it's not that easy sometimes. You have to give it time, because some people are like, oh, let's get together to do, okay, boom. And then you're like, okay, now why is this not working? And sometimes it does. You never know. But a lot of times it takes, just like building a relationship. You got to build the collaboration. Me and Barb have been building this for over 5 years. So it's kind of like we already know how we're gonna gel. And I'm saying all that because Barbara was just giving you some tips about, taking the time and the mountain climbing and everything. And I was just thinking about, with mindset, the first thing you have to do, and she kind of said this, is be grateful, have gratitude, reflect on your daily. You woke up this morning, you're breathing, you're walking. We got to be more grateful first. And then that kind of moves that monkey brain a little bit, because now you're putting okay, well, I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that I have a show with Barbara. I'm grateful that we're talking about some positive things for people, giving them tips. So that's gratitude. Then you got to get into the mindfulness, which you need to stay present and focused.
Right.
And just like Barbara said, 3:00 in the morning, think about something 40 years ago. Is that staying present and focused? You got to ask it, we got to ask ourselves those questions. So that's another way, a habit, saying, okay, let me stay present. Is this keeping me present and focused right now? Is this totally outside of that box? And then, we remember I said visual about beating yourself up, and are you going to beat yourself up all the time? Visually imagine achieving what you're trying to do. Imagine it. Just put a picture there. See, I always go by me. I always been this way since I was young, Barbara. I always make a movie out of everything in my life. Maybe that's why sometimes I had some back in the day. But anyway, but I do. I always see movies when I'm talking to myself, when I'm doing things, if I'm talking to other people, if they tell me their stories. That's why I feel like I can be in their story, because while they're telling me their story, I'm already making a movie in my head of their story. So, being visual and seeing that you can make that mountain. You can make that mountain. And I just want to add something I was and it's funny because I got this email saying, oh, I'm having this person a long time ago, their coach. And a long time ago, I went to one of their workshops, and they really help speakers and everything with storytelling, a whole bunch of stuff. So I said, oh, I haven't heard from them in a while. And I had a little time. So let's just say, I said I had a little time. I didn't know the workshop was going to be 2 hours. But see, this is how wonderful they are as a coach, that they kept my attention for 2 hours. I was like, okay. But they ended it, and this brings back the mountain that you said. So they left this. They said, they drew it on the board, just visualization again. They said, always remember, whatever you're doing in life, that, we hit mountains, that we hit that, we hit different goals in our lives. He says, so he drew a mountain when it go up, right? And he put a little flag at the top, hey, you did, you achieved this, right? The flag of the mountain. And then it went down. And then he made another mountain. It went up and then went down and put a little flag at the top of that mountain. He said, have you noticed something? He said, do you see yourself jumping from one mountain top to the next? Exactly. He said, no, we don't do that. So why do you think that you're going to be... How do you climb mountains? You don't sit there and be like, woo, jump to another one, woo, and you're going on the top. And it made, so when he showed that, Barbara, I was like, Oh my God, that's like an epitome. That's like,
Exactly.
oh, you're so right. He said you have to go back down after you climb that mountain, and you go in the valley, and then you come back, and then you got to go back up on that next mountain, right?
Yep.
And he said, just the other thing you need to remember is don't stay too long in that low valley.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Because in the valley, sometimes there are dense trees, there are rivers to cross, there are rapids, and you have no boat.
That was good.
Or you feel like you don't have a boat.
You have a raft.
And sometimes you might think, okay, well, maybe I could make a raft, and then your raft, you don't have anything to bind your raft together. That's where community comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can reach out to friends and supportive friends. Keyword there, supportive friends, not somebody that's going to beat you up and tell you, oh, you're crazy. Look at that. See, you did that. You were on that mountain, and look at that. You've fallen off, and you're down here in the pits.
No.
Ignore them and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, this thing didn't work, but now I'm going up again.
Yeah.
And chances are that next mountain was a little higher, and you grew from being in that mountain. And because it was a mountaintop, and the view from the top of the mountain is
whoa. Wow. Well, you gave me chills, Barbara, when you just said that. I felt chills when you was like, the view of that mountain.
The view from the mountain. And it's that view that you can visualize.
Mm-hmm.
And find ways to visualize like that. Like one of the things that I do on my computer screen, my screensaver is a beautiful mountain golf course with a vineyard on it.
Ooh.
It is just absolutely beautiful. And sometimes I just sit here and look at my screen.
See?
Because I'm visualizing that's my backyard.
Mm.
What does your backyard look like?
Mm.
Is it an orchard? Is it flowers, and every flower represents something different for you?
Mm.
Is it full of people? Is it an orphanage that you want to bring good health and well-being to an underprivileged country? It doesn't matter what the vision is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting in touch with it and seeing it. Mother Teresa, she lived in gross conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But it was her vision to bring health to the Indian people, to India.
Mm-hmm. That's made her heart sing. Yeah. That made her heart sing.
That, like Barb said, it's using that positive affirmation or a visualization, or just set one small achievable goal, and all it does is it redirects your focus. Redirect your focus from negative to positive. I don't care if it's one small step.
Yeah. And stay in the present. That's like you have to go stay in your mind.
In the present. And that's where your support system comes in. Every great achievement starts with a decision to try.
Wow. See, this is what I keep telling. See, this is the wisdom queen. I had to give you a new nickname. You got so much wisdom. It's like, that's why I love coming here, because I've learned every week. I've learned something new from Miss Barbara. And thank you so much. And I love this topic. This could be like a part 2, because I have other notes.
We're gonna have to do a part 2.
Because this is really important. Because like Barbara said, and I'm going to finish it here because of time. But what Barbara said, this is not something that, you just, and this, and you're good on it. I mean, this is something that you have to consistently. That's why we're giving you different tips, different like challenges, if you want to call it, or what have you, what this says there, what it says, challenge or whatever it is, because we want to give you some tools That's it. Some tools to help you, because the same tools that we're giving you, guess what? We're doing the same thing. We use these tools all the time.
And sometimes it's just having a little bit of a perspective change. Because so often what happens, people get caught in, well, I've always been that way.
See,
okay. Yeah, you've always been that way because that's how you were brought up or whatever.
You gotta get out.
But as I said it before, that doesn't mean you have to stay there.
Yeah, that's a choice.
And it's your choice to change your perspective, to change your paradigm. To you're like you're the all here, you're like, well, you're just I look at things half empty. Well, okay, fine, but so now you can change that. You're not a tree. You can change your roots. Your roots. You're not stuck that you can never move. Your mind can move, and all you do is just say, hey, you know what? No, I'm not a half empty kind of gal. I'm a half full kind of gal. You are now on your way to having a full cup.
I love it. I love it. Just like you said, again, there's so much here, but like you said, you have to make that choice. I mean, it all boils down to that. You have to make the choice. If you're going to make the decisions, you got to make the choice. If you want to stay present and focused, you got to make the choice. If you want to do affirmations, everything we're doing, it always goes back to that choice. And I always tell people, and I'm glad you brought that up when you said, well, I always been doing, I'm just used to doing this. And I want to say, and how has that been going for you?
Exactly. And how's that working for you?
Move the needle in your life. How's that working for you? Like Barbara said, how is that really working for you? Because guess what? I know it has been working for me. So I know I had to make a different direction here.
Yeah.
But they kill me with this. Like, well, I've always been doing that. Or they'll make an excuse like, and I even caught myself doing this. Okay. So people won't get upset at me if I threw out a person or name. I have said this to myself sometimes. Well, I'm getting older. I'm older. I'm getting older and stuff. So it's just, and there's another excuse.
Right.
So
exactly. And the voices in our heads, they are not the arbitrators of our success. They're not. Our determination says, I will try again tomorrow.
Tomorrow's another day.
And that shapes our destiny.
Wow. Well, you know what? I got a whole bunch of positive thoughts in my head right now, and I want to keep them there. So with that, appreciate you so much. Love you, Queen. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Do we have you next Wednesday with Rachel? She's going to be coming on. So yeah.
Miss Rachel. So with that, as Barbara always says, and I don't want to always take her.
Let's celebrate. Make happiness the norm rather than the exception. I mean, each and every one of us, we deserve to lead happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant lives. But we have to take the first step to do it. So just choose wisely today. Choose your thoughts wisely.
Yeah. We will see you next Wednesday, and you take care.
Welcome by everybody, and thank you so much for listening to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. I'm your host, Barbara Ellison, and I look forward to seeing you next time, where we will have a great guest talking about making happiness the norm rather than the exception. Because we believe that each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant life, whatever that means to you. So join us again. And please, to get reminded, hit the subscribe button or the like button wherever you're listening to us. And we will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.